In a stunning escalation, Ukraine has just delivered a blow Russia never saw coming, a move so strategic, so unexpected, that it has sent shockwaves across Europe's energy and security landscape. Tonight, a new front has opened not on the battlefield, but deep inside the European Union itself. Tensions across Europe have reached a new breaking point. The Ukraine-Russia war, already reshaping global alliances and power structures, has now triggered an internal political earthquake within the European Union. And at the center of this storm stands Hungary, openly resisting Brussels in a way never seen during the conflict. Just hours after Ukraine launched a strategic move that intensified pressure on Moscow, Brussels unveiled its new and highly aggressive REPowerEU initiative, a plan that aims to cut off Russian gas imports entirely by the end of 2027. For most EU members, this was expected. For some countries, even welcomed. But for Hungary, it was nothing short of catastrophic. At a press conference in Budapest, Hungarian Foreign Minister Péter Szijjártó delivered one of the strongest statements of the year. He warned that powerful forces inside Brussels are actively working to strip Hungary of its energy security, forces that, according to him, are trying to force the country away from Russian supplies without any realistic alternative. Szijjártó emphasized, Hungary cannot cut itself off from Russian oil and gas overnight. The country's economy depends on stable, long-term prices. And Brussels is pushing decisions that could directly threaten national security. The message was clear. Hungary is under economic attack from within the EU, not from Moscow. Within minutes, the statement spread across Europe like wildfire. Analysts say this is one of the most direct confrontations between a member state and the EU during the Ukraine conflict. And it signals not just a policy disagreement, but a potential fracture inside the bloc. Hungary has now taken the unprecedented step of preparing a legal challenge against the EU's decision, a move that Slovakia is also considering. But this isn't just lawfare. This is geopolitics merging with war. Because Ukraine's latest move against Russia has tightened Europe's energy pressure, and now Hungary believes this pressure is turning inward. To understand the magnitude of this conflict, we must understand what is truly at stake. In 2025 alone, Hungary imported 8.5 million tons of Russian crude oil, over 7 billion cubic meters of Russian natural gas. This is not a small dependency. This is the backbone of Hungary's energy infrastructure. Brussels argues that Europe must end its dependence on Russian energy for security reasons, especially after Ukraine's latest strategic operations against Russian targets shook Moscow's supply confidence. But Hungary sees this differently. Budapest insists it has already secured its own stability through direct agreements with both Washington and Moscow, ensuring that energy supplies remain uninterrupted regardless of wider geopolitical shifts. Szijjártó said the government has worked for years to guarantee that Hungarian homes remain warm, factories stay open, and utility costs remain low, and that Brussels is now threatening those very achievements. And this is where the conflict grows deeper. Hungary believes that the EU's new initiative was not designed with energy security in mind, but rather political pressure aimed at isolating Russia, even if it forces some EU countries into economic hardship. Critics of the EU say the same. The decision is too fast, too aggressive, and ignores geographic realities. Supporters of the EU say Hungary is standing in the way of European unity at a time of war. But here's the truth no one wants to say out loud. Europe is divided, not on values but on survival needs. Countries like Germany, France, and the Nordics have already diversified. Countries like Hungary, Slovakia, and even Austria remain structurally dependent on Russian pipelines. This makes the conflict not just political, but structural. It is an internal energy war, one unfolding parallel to the war in Ukraine. And meanwhile, Russia is watching this division closely. Because the more Europe fractures from inside, the stronger Moscow's geopolitical position becomes. Even beyond energy, Hungary is positioning itself as one of Europe's most attractive destinations for foreign investment. The government proudly points to Europe's lowest flat tax, 99 strategic cooperation agreements, partnerships with major German, American, and Chinese companies, Szijjártó argues that Hungary's economic model is designed to keep the country stable during global uncertainty, but that EU pressure threatens to undermine these advantages. Analysts warn that if Brussels pushes too hard, Hungary may begin seeking even stronger alternative partnerships outside the EU framework, something that would alter the balance of European power for years. Meanwhile, the Ukraine-Russia conflict continues to reshape Europe's energy and industrial map. Every sanction, every pipeline shift, every battlefield gain or loss, all of it affects energy markets, investment, and political stability. And now, with Hungary launching a legal fight against Brussels, Europe is entering a new phase, an internal confrontation triggered by an external war. What happens next will determine whether the EU stays united or becomes divided along energy lines, whether Ukraine's strategic gains push Europe closer together or tear it further apart, and whether Russia gains leverage from Europe's internal fractures. This is no longer just a war of tanks and missiles. It is a war of gas pipelines, alliances, courts, and political will. And Hungary has just drawn a line in the sand. If you want more deep, clear, and powerful updates on the Ukraine-Russia conflict, from battlefield shifts to political clashes inside Europe, then make sure you subscribe, like, share, and hit the bell icon, so you never miss the breaking stories shaping our world. Your support helps us bring you the truth behind global events every single day.